going to continue all the talk about the fintech startups and how the fintech landscape looks like at the moment in Romania, in the region, but also how does it feel to grow and get traction for a fintech startup. That's why my guests for this panel are some good friends of mine. Irina, Scarlat, Revolut country manager, Eduard, Alexandrian, founder and CEO 4secunde, and our dearest Alexandra, Dabu from the How to Web team. Alexandra, we are waiting for you. Okay, so let's see. Do you have your mics? Oh, okay, so I think you can join me right here. So, first of all, thank you so much for joining us at the event. I'm going to start with you, Alexandra, because I know that together with the entire team from How to Web, but also in partnership with UniCredit Bank, you've just launched a fintech report, yes, right? An entire paper, to say like this, about the fintech startups. What is it about?
First of all, together with UniCredit, as you said, and with some other fintech communities from Romania, we have looked on the local market and identified what we consider to be some rising stars, some potential rising stars in the fintech world. And we've put them together in this report that you can find online now on the How to Web website. What you can see in this report is basically companies addressing consumer needs, like, I don't know, budgeting, personal finance, payments, money transfers, or stuff like that, as well as companies addressing, startups addressing needs for small and medium enterprises. And here we have like financing, all sorts of financial reporting tools, accounting, money exchange. So this is a selection of, let's say, Romanian companies.
But just Romanian companies, just Romanian startups?
Yes, just okay. Romanian startups. We have more details about them in the report. As I said, you can find them online.
Okay. How did you come up with this idea? What was the problem, the need?
Well, I think in its 9 years of existence, How to Web has established itself as let's say, well-known name in supporting local startups, regional and local startups. And I think this is a step forward in recognizing what's happening on the local market and in helping drive more change and more traction in putting companies forward and helping them grow.
So basically, this is a paper that is going to be useful, very useful to those who are thinking right now to start up a startup, right?
Yeah.
And to those who are just tackling the industry and want to know a little bit more about the startups that are.
Yes, and I think if you browse through the report, you can see also solutions that you can use for, like, as I said, personal use as well as business use. From the local market, solutions that are actually very good and very useful to help companies grow and enable digital transformation, because this is what it's all about. Finding tech solutions that help companies accelerate their solutions and their growth.
So this report is available to anyone who's going right now on howtoweb.co, or
exactly.
Is there? Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. So anyone just can.
You can see it on the homepage, as well as there's a special section on it.
Okay, so go check it out.
Yeah.
Irina, so I know that. Not really recently, but you've joined Revolut as the country manager for quite some time now. How was your experience of getting traction here in Romania and basically growing the company for the last months?
So it's 6 months now that I've joined Revolut as country manager. Honestly, when Andreas, you saw him earlier on stage. He's my manager, and when he told me, "Are you up for the challenge to bring on board 100,000 Romanian users by the end of the year?" I said, "Okay, that's a 5x growth. We were 20,000 back then, but I'm always up for a good challenge." And I knew that it was going to be a difficult job, not an easy one, but I was looking forward to it. Honestly, the traction was bigger than expected, meaning that we're very close to 100,000 users today. To be more exact, we're at 97,000 today. I think this confirms the fact that Romanians actually needed this solution. At this point, we're the only European fintech that offers services caters to the needs of the Romanian market, because we're the only ones offering RON accounts, and the growth was exponential, and the growth was 99% community-based, meaning that if you build a product that's good, that's very good, and you actually solve a need for the users will recommend it. Like the biggest engine of growth, given that we didn't invest money in marketing, was our community.
What was the biggest challenge for you?
For me, I'm not, and this was the discussion we were having during the interviews. I don't have any background in banking or finance, so the entire world was like fintech was sexy enough. I have a tech background. Getting up to speed with all the fintech concepts was challenging, and then it's the operational part, because there are a lot of issues that are specific to the Romanian market. Like, for example, the Romanian Post, which does not deliver cards to all addresses. There are some addresses that are randomly skipped by the Romanian Post. And when I reached out to my colleagues from Ops, and I was like, guys, we have to switch the national suppliers. They were like, but why should we do this? We can do an API integration first. And I was like, yeah, okay, we're talking about the Romanian Post. How about we switch supplier? And then there are a series of banks in Romania that charge for cross-border RON transactions because they basically serve their customers only when they are within the physical boundaries of Romania. But if you want to transfer RON to an external account, you get charged. And these are I think not the growth marketing, but the operational issues were and still are the biggest challenges.
Eduard, when you started your fintech startup, you had no brand. I guess that you had some experience in financials. I don't know for sure, but you can
not quite in business. I was a business developer.
Okay, how was for you the entire experience?
It was hard. It happened 6 years ago, and our clients are accounting companies, and I know everybody here knows an account, at least one. And you guys know that accountants are very busy. They are working very hard for the last few days of the month. And it was a big challenge for me, even if I had a business development background. I believe that was strong. It was very difficult for me to stop them from their running, to explain them that I can sell them teleporting system or something like this, or levitation. So they were. The answer was, we are too busy running. We cannot listen for your explanation about your teleporting system. Okay, but I can get you from point A to point B in 5 seconds, not in 2 days. We don't care. We don't have time to listen to you. So this was our first problem, and it took. Okay, we started to have customers from the beginning, but for 3 or 4 years it was very, very difficult because I don't know, they consider that if they have running shoes it's enough, and they have to put their energy into running and not listen to you. In the last 2 to 3 years it became easier, and of course, everybody understands automation now and the robotic processes, and the UiPath does a great job doing this. So it is much easier for us now, but it was very hard at the beginning. 6 years ago, trying to sell automation processes to accountants was, oh my God.
So basically, yeah, the Romanian market is growing, and the consumers are more eager to adopt new products, new fintech financial products, right?
Yes.
Okay. How do you guys feel the traditional world of banking supporting or not fintech companies? How does it feel? You, Irina, mentioned some issues, some operational issues with some companies here in Romania, but how is the overall feeling?
I think that if I look at my case, I think there's obviously a love-hate relationship between fintechs and banks, and particularly between Revolut and banks. However, I want to make it very clear: these issues, no bank has ever done something to hinder the Revolut's development in Romania. The problems that arise, the operational problems that arise, are because they offer poor services to their customers, and their customers are affected irrespective of whether they pay their Uber ride or they top up their Revolut account. So from this point, I think we see from some banks who are open to innovation and want to become digital, they are very open. Like, I've been invited and I've delivered workshops to banks. They were very open in discussing with us, in telling us that they want to learn from how we do things, and that they have some restrictions concerning the way they're regulated, because they're a bank and we're not, and hence we can move faster. But the big majority of banks are in denial mode. They still perceive us as being very, very small, and they still think we don't matter, which is a good thing for us.
Alexandra, what's your take on this after writing the report and interacting with companies and banks as well?
I think they've already said for change to happen, it takes time. And you said like 6 years. It's actually from going to the idea to the implementation, and from the implementation to actually growing on the market. It's kind of a hustle, and it takes a long time. Therefore, that's why we want to go forward with these kinds of initiatives to help companies be seen and be understood, and kind of drive change and make it better seen by the end user, and better understood by the end user.
Eduard?
There are three things here, all positive. I have seen a lot of events lately sponsored by banks around the tech startup scene, and this is very good. And I've seen at least three Romanian banks that are interested in this sector, and they are actively supporting them. This is one. Two is they are constantly looking for smaller and smaller companies, smaller and smaller startups to finance on their projects, and their limitations for granting them the money are better and better. Okay, banks have to stay on the safe side, but they are open on this and on this also. And the third thing, because Daniel was here in the morning, I'm hearing about a lot of banks developing their RPA departments to lead the developments on this new technology, and improve their services to the clients, and to the startups that I was talking about earlier. So banks are into it, and we are very happy to see this.
Do you guys think that these challenges are specific to the Romanian market, or this is something that happens all over the region, all over the world? I think that you, Irina, collaborated with your teams from other countries. How do you see things working or not there?
I'm always telling that we are not that special to have problems that are only specific to the Romanian market, but there are indeed differences. Our problems are specific to the Eastern Europe. As you go east, more east, the problems get worse and worse and worse. Problems are different east versus west. I think if we look at the Western countries, they are more advanced. And if you go across the pond in the US, you'll see a different banking and fintech systems as compared to Europe.
And what's the solution? How do we make these two parts working better together? How can banks specifically can support all the fintech initiatives? We have some communities that are already progressing and making effort in creating events and organizing events and so on and so forth. But how can banks specifically support the fintech initiatives?
If I may answer, sorry. I think they are already taking steps into this direction, and having these events and meeting with all types of startups and supporting them in different ways is the way to grow a big future together. So they are already doing this.
But on the other hand, there are several categories of fintechs. Some of the fintechs are eating into the pie of customers of those specific banks. So do we expect to receive a lot of support from a bank? We Revolut? No, we don't, because it's like you're asking Coca-Cola to support Pepsi in a way. Maybe we're not directly competing today, but we will in a matter of years, and on the medium term, not only on the long term. So it depends on the sector. They should be getting more engaged. They should be working more with fintechs. It depends on the type of fintech, though. And in the end, with the banks and the change, it's very hard to teach an elephant to dance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
I kind of have to take the other side and say that I think that more and more banks are starting to see technology as an enabler and as a driver, not necessarily as a threat. I do understand that there are some contexts in which markets might overlap, but in most contexts, communication and direct dialogue, I think it's just the way to understand both sides and to make them work better together.
Okay, I see. Going back to the struggles and growing a fintech startup in Romania and in the region as well, what should those that are now, I don't know, working on something, maybe they have an MVP or just an idea, what should they expect? What are the main challenges? Perhaps not necessarily from a technical point of view, because none of you is a tech guy here, but maybe from a business development point of view, or getting the first customers. I know that trust is something very important in this field. What should they know?
I think that they should join the programs that are developing here in Bucharest a lot, and I believe also around the country, the pre-accelerators, accelerators, and they will, if their product is good enough to get in those programs, they will get their good lessons from their mentors, good support, and the first steps will be well supported there. So I think that they should develop an MVP that gets into those programs.
I think there are several sides to this story. First of all, if we look at fintechs that are born in Romania and in the region, I would love to see founders thinking bigger from the very beginning. I know fintech is hard. I know regulations are not the same, and building a fintech is not the same as building a SaaS company. But I'd like to see them thinking bigger and trying to tackle at least the European market to begin with. Concerning the challenges, there are two sides of this as well. First of all is the trust, because you're asking people to trust you with their money, and this is very hard to earn. And here you solve this challenge first and foremost not through the marketing or business development side, but you sort it out through product and community. First, you build a damn good product that people want to use, and then you foster the power of the community to recommend it further. And this way, you get the ball rolling in order to get the initial traction you need. And then if we look particularly on the Eastern European markets, there is the problem of lack of financial education. Like the financial education here is not, cannot be compared with the one in the West. We have lower credit card penetration. The online payments are lower than in the West. So I think, and here I think fintech founders, banks, payment processing companies should all work together in order to foster financial education and to bring us to a decent level of financial education. We're not there yet, not in Romania, not in Eastern Europe.
Okay, if you guys have any questions for any of my guests, please raise your hand and I will gladly take it. We have one question right there, so if you can give them the mic.
Yeah, quick question for Revolut. Are you operating with an e-money license within the EU or a banking license?
So we don't have a banking license yet. We have an e-money license granted by the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority in London, and we have also applied for a banking license, and we're waiting news on that one pretty soon.
All right, thank you.
Okay, one last question. We still have time for one last question, if any. I don't see you raising your hands. So I guess this would be all, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck with growing the companies, the fintech landscape.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.